I was just reminded of someone that I hadn't thought of in years. My 2-year-old son was digging in the trash and trying to pull out dirty food that had been thrown out to eat as a snack. And it reminded me of a woman that I was in rehab with. This woman had been homeless for years before coming to rehab, and when people would throw their food out, she would dig in the trash, eat the food, and then lick her fingers. And I remember thinking, are you serious right now? Like, this is our scraps, our leftovers. But she was used to having to store up food and eat a little extra because she didn't know when her next meal was going to come. And it made me think about how we're all humans on this path to life recovery, right? You know, if life is dear and precious and we're not going to take it for granted, we need to realize that all of us are humans with the same inner makeup. We might not have the same story. We might not be on the same path, but ultimately we're all fighting towards generally the same thing. Like, she and I had in common that we were both in recovery from drug addiction, but our paths to get to rehab and recovery looked entirely different. I had never experienced homelessness. I had never experienced having to ache for my next meal or having to worry or wonder when I might eat again. But we both had the common denominator of addiction that we were fighting against to recover from. And just like humans, whether you're a normie, those old normies that have never suffered drug addiction, or, someone who has been down a rougher path, ultimately, at the end of the day, when all of those things are said and done and washed away, we are all humans walking this life towards the goal of recovery. How do we live a better life? How do we move on? How do we heal? How do we reach that end goal? And I love addiction recovery. I love the 12-step meetings, and I'm grateful for that stepping stone. And I do believe that everyone is different, and some people need certain tools in the recovery toolbox, and they need to use those a little bit longer than others. But I personally believe, and this view has changed over the years, that the ultimate goal is a relationship with Jesus Christ. So I was just reminded about this sweet woman that I lived with for a period of time today, and it just reminded me that our walks may look different, and we might have different experiences, but ultimately the end goal is the same. Everybody needs Jesus. Everybody needs relationship with him. And if we're choosing to fight each day to live our lives a little bit better than we were yesterday, and we want to be less like ourselves and more like Jesus, we have to be gracious and patient. I find it interesting how we can look at the symptom. Like, I could have looked at that woman and thought, ew, why the hell are you eating out of the trash? I'm so disgusted by you. But we turn around, back up a little bit, and we expand the picture, and we see things a little bit bigger. We can stop and see that, this person has walked a lonely path of misery, and life can be rough, and just because our struggles look different doesn't make them any less, any more, any harder, our problems look different, but we're all fighting for the same end goal. So let's stop and look at the big picture of life, and put on that panoramic view and see, hey, why am I judging the symptom of a problem that just looks a little bit different than mine? So I don't know, just some perspective and altering, life and what we see. So important. Just be gracious and kind and have compassion and empathy for each other. That's really all the message is. So have a good day.